What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Welcome to the GageTV Maverik Cast, episode number 2, broadcasting live right here from beautiful Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a beautiful week. We are midway through the week right now, and before I begin, let me please ask you guys to like this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, most importantly, but comment below. We'd like you to get involved in this discussion. We'd like you to get involved and to interact with what we're doing, what we're saying. If you'd like to be involved in the video, send me a request, and I will tap that request notification and give you the opportunity to chime in and talk and maybe debate a little bit some of the subjects that we're talking about here today on the GageTV Maverik Cast. I'm your host, Gage Maverik. And also, to chime in and let me know where you're watching from. Where are you seeing this video from? Where in the world are you? What time of day is it? How are things going in your world? What opinions do you have? Please remember always to stay engaged to Gage TV and stay engaged to the Gage TV Maverik Cast. Today, what we're going to be doing is this is a podcast for all things. It's the Gage TV Maverik Cast podcast for all things. We're going to prove that today. Last week, we did a show about football, about sports. This week, we're going to do a show about entertainment. In fact, I'm going to review 2 movies of different genres and different time periods, but I'm going to tie them together in such a way that may blow your mind. It might freak you out a little bit, but it's because I'm really into all of this stuff and because I watch stuff and I want to share that information with you and get your take on it. See if you agree, disagree, you think I'm completely out of my mind, or I'm right on point, which I'm thinking you'll probably think that I'm right on point for these. So without any further ado, the first movie we're going to review is the movie 1984. George Orwell's book was made into a movie, not once but twice. We're going to go over the original movie in 1984 that was produced and distributed around the 50s, 1958, I think it was, 59, somewhere in that neighborhood. The movie's called 1984, supposed to be about the dystopian future that lied ahead of us. Basically, after wars were waged, bombs were dropped, and after all the fallout, we're going to be seeing how our world transformed, what our world looked like. If you have not seen this movie, there are going to be some spoiler alerts here, but I encourage you after this to go back and watch it. It is the black and white version. Don't know the names of the actors that were in it. That's not important. But what I'm really blown away by is Orwell wasn't too far off. He was about 40 years off, but the scary part is, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but in the movie, basically what you see is a dystopian world of control. It's a tyrannical government ran by this organization that basically wants to maintain control over you through the use of propaganda, government control, government subsidized jobs, food, everything. And as I begin to talk, you're going to start to see parallels of what's already happening to us now and what we just went through and how it starts to already sound vaguely familiar. And this movie was produced some 90 years ago, something like that. So a book was written way before that, and then of course the movie. So in this movie, what you start to see right from the very beginning is the control in the home. When people come home, they're only allowed to carry 1 or 2 items with them, and it's the same items they take to work and from work. And you have to show the contents of what you had in that item. And if there's anything missing or there's anything added to it, you will pay a penalty. It will be a problem. And that's in your home. Then, of course, when you go to work, the work is what? It is a government job. Everyone works for the government. And it's broken up in 3 different classes of people, a little bit like the Hunger Games, but 3 different classes. Hunger Games is only 2, and this one there are 3. And it's basically the elite. Then there's the people that own the companies, and then everybody else. Which the everybody else is something I've been talking about for quite some time, going back to the pandemic time. But again, we'll parallel this in just a moment. But as the movie unfolds, you start to see as people go to and from work, the propaganda. They have the different organizations within the companies, within the organization of the governmental structure. Ministry of Truth, Ministry of Peace, Ministry of this, Ministry of that. And that Ministry of Truth is eerily similar to, remember when Joe Biden's term, they had to have the misinformation board and that crazy woman that was singing the stupid song about how they're going to control the information. The Ministry of Truth is basically that. And it was in the movie, basically it's a propaganda arm that basically controls what information goes out to the public through their quote unquote news sources. And it was broadcast on their own internal, basically radio network, but it looked more like a intercom type of system because everybody was under one control, basically one roof without it being an actual roof. And what I thought was diabolically brilliant throughout the movie is the control slogans, which are manipulative and demeaning and tyrannical. The control slogans, which are war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is our strength. Which on that one right there, doesn't that sound eerily like diversity is our strength? Ignorance is our strength. And what I think is really cool, again, in a creative way and in a manipulative way, is throughout the movie you see these slogans on billboards, on the sides of buildings, on the side, and they're almost omnipresent throughout the film. And you see those slogans somewhere throughout with the slogan of the name of the company and the face of the man we're supposed to follow. Now, something else that happens throughout the film is they have their own set of words and vocabulary, and they transform the meanings of those words. But didn't we see a lot of that throughout the pandemic where they were changing meanings and creating words that weren't there before? Words like misinformation, disinformation, asymptomatic, and then just flooding the marketplace with these words that were designed for control and manipulation and shaming you for this, shaming you for that. The whole LGBTQ shit. Okay. And also throughout the movie, you see them give salutes to Big Brother, and they actually use words to do so. It's not a Nazi salute, but it's a similar salute in that regard, where they basically love Big Brother, salute Big Brother. And in my eyes, it's a little similar to the big tech throughout the pandemic. That's Big Brother, right? And they were monitoring everything we said and did, and offering the jab and putting things in the jab to be able to control you. So as the movie unfolds, there's a couple that they kind of fall in love with each other, and they start having their own thoughts. And as you start to question the government throughout this film, you start to see other examples of they kind of disappear you. Remember that term, disappearing people, unaliving people. Remember that? People having to manipulate words and change words for cancel culture, this and that, cancel culture, disappearing people. And in the movie, you start seeing that. You start seeing that if somebody disagreed or something happened, they were just gone. Did not exist anymore. And if you ever spoke of them again, you suffered a punishment as well. And by the way, if you spoke out against the government and you had a problem, what was your punishment? There was one step before the disappearing portion, and that was you would have to go into some kind of therapy. And what do we see during the pandemic? You saw people like Hillary Clinton and others talk about re-education of MAGA, re-education of people, concentration camps. We saw people talk about putting people in camps, and people that didn't agree with the system, people that didn't agree with the pandemic, didn't agree with getting the jab, didn't agree with masking, having to be put in concentration camps and re-education. Hillary Clinton's one of the biggest ones that said things like that. And so as the movie unfolds, you start to see that, and then if somebody acts up or gets out of the way, they put them through this entire like shock culture, which to me that's a little bit like the MK Ultra experiments you saw in the 1970s and 80s in San Francisco and in California, in different areas, and they're trying to do mind control, and this whole thing is mind control. The entire pandemic, mind control. And the entire time I'm watching 1984, I'm sitting there, just my jaw's just dropping, and I'm just going, "This is unbelievable!" What this man who wrote this book multi-decades ago predicted, and now those predictions are, in a way, coming true. Now, also, too, the people in that film were only able to eat government food at certain times, parts of the day, prefabricated for them on their plates, in their break rooms. And again, it was totally monitored. Right? The cameras were everywhere, microphones were everywhere. You couldn't say or do anything. It was against the they had to come up with their own communication system, like to write on something and hand it underneath the table or something over the shoulder. And something that was really important in that was the flow of the information, and the information went out through a government worker that was typing up prefabricated stories and prefabricated news items that they would send out to the people, and through their internal intercom type system. And guys, when you watch this film, I would encourage all of you to go watch it. Go watch it. You can watch it on YouTube, free of charge, if you don't want to spend the money. No problem. And it's just, it's so crazy how it's like similar to what we all just went through. And now what we're starting to see that's going on in New York with the rationing. You're going to start to see rationing with like the government grocery stores. And when those fail, and you're starting to see like brothels are suing the grocery stores and starting to sue the government and say, we're going to go out of business. This isn't going to work. And what's going to happen to those people if they speak out against it? So you're starting to see the rise of that type of shit going on in our world right now. And all of this from the same film, 1984. And I'm not going to talk about how it ends, because that's a crazy part also, but you need to see the movie to see. We don't want it to end that way. So guys, there's a lot of parallels here. There's a lot of, and I talked about this as being kind of a movie review. I guess it's more of a parallel to, while reviewing the movie and talking about the movie and recommending the movie, it's more of an ability to kind of wake you up as to this shit has been out there in the ether for a while, and kind of bubbling to the surface. And we just went through some of it. It could happen again, but you're starting to see a lot of this. And if we keep repeating history, we're going to repeat it. Now, this is not 1984. Didn't really actually happen. Obviously, it is fiction. But you need to go watch 1984, the black and white version, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, this is Gage TV Maverik Kast. My name is Gage Maverik, the host. We are switching gears, going from one movie to another. If you're just now joining us, please hit the like button right over there. Tap that notification bell, comment below, but more importantly, subscribe to the channel, please. It helps the algorithm, helps people find us, and so I can keep passing on more content with you guys. And remember, as always, to stay engaged to Gage TV. Now, the next movie we're going to talk about is more of a review than it is a parallel, but I have some parallel thoughts on that as well, and I'll show you how it kind of ties into each other. Now, this next one is an independent film that just recently came out called Citizen Vigilante. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Get it on your streaming platform. I have a special platform where I'm able to watch like all the latest movies when they come out. I just watched it the other night, and while the script has some holes in it, it has some flaws, and I can break that stuff down because I'm in the entertainment industry. I'm a writer, producer, director myself, and so I'm able to recognize flaws in the film and recognize flaws in the writing and the palpability of it, culpability of some of the writing, which some of it is a little weak, but it does pass the point on. And it's really important because what you're seeing in that movie, and I'm not going to spoil alert this one, but you kind of understand, just the name of it kind of gives it away as to what's happening here. So there's not a whole lot of mystery in it, except to see kind of how it unfolds. But what the genesis of it and the plot of the whole thing is that basically the police are not doing anything to solve crimes. And you're seeing that right now again with the pandemic. They tried the whole defund the police thing. They tried the whole all the riots, and nothing has happened to any of those rioters. Nothing has happened to any of those people. And now you're seeing the DSA coming out and saying that's one of their platforms. Defund the police, no prisons, no this, no that. So you're forced to, okay, we have to deal with this shit on our own. And that's basically the genesis of the film. And in the film, Armie Hammer plays a guy who just basically is out there just taking things, taking the bull by the horns, taking things under his own control, and saying enough of this bullshit. You know, something has to happen. These people can't just run amok in our society, and you can't have a society with a bunch of lawlessness. It's a little bit, that's what all the superheroes were from, Batman, and all of that. They called him the vigilante, Cape Crusader, all of that. And so there's an element of that in play here in this movie. And They kind of don't tell us exactly where it is, although we know it's in a European city. I want to say it's not Poland. It's like Romania, Bulgaria, Croatia, one of these kind of yes. And it is a powerful, powerful movie. You must see it. It's a really, really good movie. But what you start to see is that's more of a where are we going, even though it's kind of right upon us. Now the tie-in. Here's how I tie the two of these in. It's about you know the lawlessness nature of one being 1984, this a total tyrannical control, and the other being the lawlessness of the just that police aren't doing anything about it, and it's innocent people. What you're starting to see is the criminals are being lauded more so than the victims and being helped. And so the way we parallel these two films is that you have to take stuff in your own hands a lot of times, and cannot worry about being controlled. In 1984, they have the thought police that if you think or get out of line, they punish you. And in Citizen Vigilante, the punishment comes from a person who's seen enough, had enough, and then in it begins to teach the population how they can do it themselves. And so the tie-in continues to be that we we have to do something. We have to first critically think on our own. We have to stand up on our own, protect ourselves, have our own thoughts, have our own abilities, and be able to do something about what we see and experience in society and in our own lives. And in Citizen Vigilante, it's really interesting to see the way in which the story is told, how it's told, and there is a bit of a snafu in it in that the film can't decide if it's a narrative, meaning like a voiceover narrative, or it's coming from this guy. They kind of go back and forth on this, um, but it is definitely worth the watch. You need to watch Citizen Vigilante and 1984. If you watch them back to back, I think you'll see kind of the things that I'm talking about, in which the parallels are there. And these are movies made 50 years apart, 60 years apart. So that's what I've got for today. That's my movie review slash parallel. It's a scary time because between both of them, we are experiencing what one is kind of showing us the genesis of, and the other was predicted many, many years ago, and we're living that right now. I'm Gage Maverik. This has been the Gage TV Maverik Cast, episode 2, a podcast for all things. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, and share. And remember, as always, to stay engaged to the Gage Maverik podcast. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you later.